couldn't help but laugh at this.
A woman apparently broke into Robert De Niro's townhome this morning in New York, and the actor was home at the time. Police say the 30-year-old suspect tried to steal Christmas presents from under his tree. Officers say the woman is connected to 6 other burglaries and was just arrested 11 days ago.
What is that saying? You get what you pay for. You get what you vote for. So Robert De Niro's home was robbed. His Manhattan home, which by the way is in a very, very upscale section of New York. Or let's just put it this way here: the whole defund the police movement stuff. I think it's starting to bear fruition, especially considering the fact that Eric Adams, the mayor of New York, is turning out to be way worse than what David Dinkins was. Now, before we talk about Robert De Niro and his actual, I still, by the way, find it absolutely hilarious that he got robbed, especially after all the preaching of the defund the police and all the preaching of how much I hate Donald Trump and of course all the normal celebrity bullshit that typically tends to occur, especially when it comes to them running their mouth, which by the way I've talked about on several occasions. The minute that social media came out, these people's days were numbered, because you would eventually find out every stupid thought that they had in their very, very tiny little brains. Dang, I gotta say this really quick. Before we talk fully about Robert De Niro, I gotta talk about this right here. Do you guys remember when I had said that Bill Maher was not turning right, he was not turning red or anything like that, seeing how he was calling out the Democrats and he was calling out all the wokeness? Do you guys remember that? I had told people that he was simply waking up to the environment that he had helped create, because for so many years he had been preaching the Democratic Party message, and he had finally begun to disagree with them on a couple of things. But at the end of the day, he would go right back to actually voting for the same policies that he quite frankly had preached. Well, Robert De Niro is probably going to do the exact same thing, except you're probably not going to hear Robert De Niro come on out and complain, because Robert De Niro, once again, doesn't really have a whole lot that he can say. If he comes out and he criticizes this woman for robbing his place, he's probably going to get called racist for it. It's just exactly how bad things are. And you will see this in the actual news report here in a second. I'm about to play from News Nation, which kind of shows you the state of liberal America. But these same people, they preached ending cash bail. They preached defund the police. And of course, what I find really funny is that Bob De Niro's security system was somehow or another breached. Let you know how cheap actors really and truly are. Let you know how cheap that multimillionaires are. I mean, you would have figured that Robert De Niro would have had an actual security system in place to protect him from being robbed. Well, obviously, this right here is not the case. And all these wealthy elites are starting to get some form of comeuppance. But before we go any further, let me go ahead and show you exactly what occurred. Let me go ahead and show you the full report, and then we're going to catch you on the other side. And believe me, stick around for the whole thing, because it is actually hilarious.
Burglar caught red-handed inside the home of Hollywood legend Robert De Niro. Police say the woman walked right into his townhouse early this morning and started snatching gifts from under his Christmas tree. Nicole Johnson from our New York City affiliate WPIX has more on the seemingly bizarre burglary.
Anything you want to say? I didn't murder anybody. Shanice Aviles did not take a life, but police say she has been taking anything she could get her hands on. In fact, police call her a serial burglar. This time, she allegedly broke into actor Robert De Niro's Upper East Side townhouse. Go to Robert De Niro's house. I didn't go to Robert De Niro's house. It's something Aviles outright denied as she was being transported from the 19th precinct charged with burglary. Police say early Monday morning, officers saw Aviles trying to open doors on East 65th Street on the Upper East Side. Officers followed her. At one point, they noticed a door at a townhouse ajar. They waited to see what was going on. After a few minutes, when they did not see Aviles come out, the officers went in. Sources say they found the 30-year-old on the second floor of the home trying to use the actor's iPad and bagging up gifts De Niro and his family had under their Christmas tree.
I was just surprised that somebody could get into a house up here.
People who live in the area are very concerned about what happened. There are several security cameras at the townhouse, but that did not deter a thief.
Safety is always a bit of a concern, but I'm actually Still very optimistic about the city.
Police say Aviles got in through the basement. By Monday afternoon, all of the locks were being changed at the townhouse where De Niro was staying with his family. Aviles is no stranger to police. They say she has been busy at work breaking into homes and businesses, at least 7 times between November 25th and December 8th on the Upper East Side. She has 26 prior arrests, 16 for burglaries. The NYPD describes Aviles as one of the 19th precinct's top 5 most wanted burglars.
It's kind of interesting to hear that a townhouse was broken into. I mean, this is a pretty wealthy area around here.
De Niro and his family were not hurt, and a representative for the actor says he has no comment at this time. On the Upper East Side in New York,
26 prior arrests and being arrested 11 days prior. This right here is just pure comedic gold. Defund the police, in cash bail, New York State's and New York City's current criminal reform programs, which quite frankly allow people to get out with practically no bail at all. But as a matter of fact, the guy who tried to stab Lee Zeldin, the guy who tried to stab the gubernatorial candidate there, he is still roaming free to my knowledge. Of course, he was let out. That's a political figure he tried to stab. Fact of the matter is that people like Bob De Niro, they kind of like preached this nonsense for years when Donald Trump was in office. And they're now getting some form of comeuppance, and it's obviously coming home to roost. Fact of the matter is this right here. This woman right here, this entire thing could have been completely averted. This woman right here got caught 11 days prior, arrested and released. Now, let me say this really quick, okay? That woman was basically saying that she did not know that it was Bob De Niro's residence. She went in there. She used the iPad. She went in there also and tried to steal the guy's presents, which I still think is hilarious. These right here, by the way, are some pretty high-end presents. But then again, though, if he didn't spend any money on a security system, it makes you wonder exactly how cheap he was. Obviously, poverty is out of control. But if you want to talk about those type of topics, you might be best going to someone like, say, actual justice warrior Sean Fitzgerald, who actually lives in the city. And he could actually give you a better understanding. I'm just simply here to tell you that these people right here, they kind of voted for these policies. And the mere fact that she was caught 11 days ago and she was able to breach a upper Manhattan or an upper, let's just say an upper class Manhattan residence, just kind of shows you that when criminals are desperate, criminals will do just about anything. And they quite frankly can achieve all types of leaps and bounds. By the way, and I forgot to mention this, when she said she didn't know it was Bob De Niro's place, it would not surprise me if, in fact, she did not know it was Bob De Niro's place. Or who knows? I mean, maybe if the city of New York actually had a policy in place that allows you to protect your property. I mean, there was this guy right here that got lit up trying to rob somebody else's home. I think I'll leave that story in the description box. Fact of the matter is that these liberals are just getting what the hell was coming to them. I mean, they preach this stuff, and here it is, obviously coming home to roost. But the thing that I want to point out, though, is those people that were being interviewed on the street. You see, guys, this right here is the state of liberal America. I was in New York City back in September. I do plan on going back, but obviously there are certain neighborhoods I'm going to try to stay away from. The mere fact that this type of crime can be committed during the day just lets you know exactly how far the city has devolved. I think it was Rudy Giuliani came in after David Dinkins, and he sort of repaired Manhattan and got it going. Of course, he left office. And then Michael Bloomberg came in there and actually did some work to try to fix the city, was actually doing a very good job. And then, of course, Bloomberg out of the middle of nowhere turned into a crazy person, drink taxes and shit like that there. And then turned right back around and handed the city over to Bill de Blasio. He found a way to screw things up in a matter of, I would say that he screwed things up in less than 8 years, the time that he was in office. I would suggest that he actually screwed things up in much, much less time. I mean, the police had already turned their backs on him because he had turned their backs on them. And now you're seeing Eric Adams, who really in a lot of ways is David Dinkins 2.0. But you got to wonder, though, will the city of New York actually change? Based upon the reactions that I saw out of those people doing the interviews, I highly doubt that that will occur. Which I've got to talk about before we close this video out. Now, guys, New York City has always been the symbolic capital of the United States. It's always been like, if you really and truly think about it, it's always been like the city that's actually looked up to in the world. I mean, when you think about New York, you think about the tall skylines, you think about the skyscrapers, but a lot of people don't seem to realize this about New York City. New York was very integral, was very important during the time of the American Revolution. As a matter of fact, if you go to New York City, especially Lower Manhattan, right across from Liberty Island itself, you will still see a lot of the old cannons right there near Battery Park. You will actually see this. You see, New York City was actually very important to the American Revolutionary effort. As a matter of fact, the city was actually under siege at that time. And of course, after the American Revolution, it grew into what it is today. It's just really bad to see a city, especially one like New York, completely devolve into absolute chaos like this. Now, you'll probably think to yourself, well, this right here is rampant everywhere. I mean, Chicago's falling apart. Philadelphia is falling apart. The vast majority of the larger cities in America are, in fact, falling apart. And a lot of this, I think, has got to do with the fact that poverty has gone through the roof and crime itself. Now, I'm a little bit torn on which one drives the other. Or maybe I should just stay with that topic because I'm not let's just say I'm not that great at articulating that. I'll be the first one to admit it. But if you're living inside bigger cities, and it's very easy for me to say that get out. The problem is that a lot of these people from these bigger cities kind of sort of bring their ideas with them. So when somebody says, don't get on us for voting for it, my response to that is very simple. You voted for that. Please do us a favor and not bring those ideas to where we live at. I mean, it's not because we're saying we don't like you. It's not because we're trying to say that we don't want you anywhere around. We don't want your ideas around because most people, when they leave an area, they don't change voting patterns. I'll put it this way here, only in certain cases. If you're moving from, say, a rural area to a city, chances are you're probably not going to change your ideas or ideals. If you're moving from a city to a suburb, you're probably not going to change your cities or your ideals. If you're moving from a city to a small town or a rural area, then in that case right there, you just may change your ideals, or you may adopt the when in Rome, do as the Romans philosophy. But the fact of the matter is that these people leaving New York City are bringing their ideas with them. Now, I understand. I know that some of these people that are leaving New York City are good people, and I know a lot of people who are from New York who don't vote Democrat. But I'm just simply saying that most of the ones that are leaving the city now are the ones that are actually bringing this with them. However, that right there being said, and this right here may sound like a little bit of a contradiction, but if you actually go back and look at that news report and you look at the people on the street talking about how they still have hope for the city, I hate to tell you this, but there is no hope in the city. Please do us a favor and stay right there in the crap hole that you voted for. Truth is this right here, guys. This right here has got more to do with the overall culture of a lot of these bigger cities. Now, let me go ahead and throw this out here. People are not holding themselves accountable. Go back to that situation in Philadelphia where the store owner hired a security team, an armed security team, to help protect the customers, and not to mention also protect the customers, the profits, and his workers as well, which he didn't really have many to begin with. Go back to that right there. If the police departments can't hold people accountable who, quite frankly, are not going to hold themselves accountable, eventually you're going to create a society where people are actually going to start fending for themselves, and they're going to start to actually defend themselves and actually protect themselves in ways that the government just may not want them to do. Let me throw this out here. I've been saying for a while that the Second Amendment is the most important amendment in the Constitution because the Second Amendment is the one that protects the First Amendment and protects your ability to have free speech. It's the one that actually protects your ability to defend yourself against the government. Well, what about the criminals too? You see, you have to defend yourself from the actual criminals as well. It's one of the main reasons why the Second Amendment is so important. And I can promise you right now that if the city of New York has something like an open carry or concealed carry law where you could actually defend yourself and they didn't have the gun permits be such an extremely high price, this type of crap right here would not happen. I mean, society would ultimately correct itself is basically what I'm trying to say. Now, guys, I'm not making a prediction here. I'm not saying that this right here is going to happen as a result, but as I discussed in the Philadelphia video, after a while, people are going to begin to do exactly what I just said. They're eventually going to start defending themselves in ways that the government is not going to like. There is one thing, and I know that this right here is somebody out there's wet dream. I'm not saying it's going to happen, and I'm not advocating. So YouTube, I'm not advocating for violence. I just want you to know this right now. But is it possible? Is it possible that the Paul Kerseys of the world show back up? I'm not advocating. I'm just simply saying it's cause and effect. If poverty continues to get worse and worse and worse, crime, of course, will continue to get worse and worse and worse. And if you don't have any type of, let's just say, accountability apparatus, meaning that there's no authority for the police departments to defend the innocent people from the criminals, you just may see this type of justice come back. I just figure I would throw this out there. But then again, though, seeing how the people of New York, and some of them are actually acting, after getting this type of information saying that they still have hope. I really and truly am not confident of there being any hope or any type of actual accountability coming from police departments. You just may see people do it on their own. So, yes, you get what the hell you pay for. You get what the hell you vote for. And this right here, in my opinion, is just good old-fashioned comeuppance. Guys, John Claymore here. If you like the content, hit the like button, subscribe, share the video. The video, of course, has been, the channel has, of course, been shadow banned. So make sure you guys use something like, say, DuckDuckGo to find the actual content for the time being. Make sure you guys leave a comment in the comment section. I want to get you guys' thoughts on this. And like I said before, the channel has been shadow banned, but you guys can find me on Facebook here. So make sure you guys go to Facebook and just simply type in John Claymore. The channel should be up there. There will be 1 to 2 more videos to come out today besides this one here. I'm probably going to release this one right here right after lunch. And of course, there's going to be another video that's a little bit longer. It's kind of a response to Mia Khalifa's very, very dumb comments on older men. Make sure you guys stick around for those, and I'll see you guys later.